There are many different ways to embroider a mouth on soft animals you make. In my case, I use a few different ways to sew eyes on these felt animals, and I thought to share some of those with you today. For easy understanding, I'm going to talk about 3 different scenarios. First one is when there is no snout or snout is not attached to the mouth. I have prepared these animal faces to embroider the mouth on so you can have a better idea. Not every animal comes with a visible snout, and even if it does, you don't have to add a snout for every animal you make. It's up to you and your creativity. Let's start with the first one. Take a fabric marking pen and mark 2 points apart and parallel to each other like this. Now connect those 2 points using a downward curvy shape, and by drawing a symmetrical curve will give you a smiley face. This is the most common and simple way to draw a mouth. Now thread your needle and make a knot at the end. Then sew along the drawn curve shape using the backstitch. Now if you don't know how to do the backstitch, make sure to check out our tutorial on that too. I mean, it doesn't have to be only the backstitch. I think you can also use stem stitch, split stitch, or even the chain stitch. It's totally up to your creativity, and I'm gonna stitch with the simple backstitch. This is a smiley face. If you want a sad face, you can draw an upward curvy shape and then sew along that. It's totally up to you. After you have embroidered the mouth, make a couple of knots at the back of the fabric to end the stitching. Finally, trim the thread. Now you can use this method with or without a snout. Let's move to the next one. All these methods are slight variations of the first one, but it will add a different characteristic to the soft animals you make. As we did earlier, mark 2 parallel points apart and then connect those 2 points using a curvy shape. Now draw 2 short lines perpendicular to the drawn curvy shape at the both ends like this. Then embroider along that shape. First make a single straight stitch for the short line at one of the ends. Then sew along the curvy shape using the backstitch as we did earlier. By leaving the snout part out, you can also use these styles in making dolls as well. I don't want you to think these are only for animals. Finally, make another single straight stitch at the other end of the mouth, and you got yourself another slightly varied mouth shape. You can add a snout if you like, or leave it as it is. The next one is almost the same as the second one, but we are changing the position of the mouth this time. If you are not comfortable with drawing a curved shape by yourself, you can use a small circle shape like a coin or a small lid to draw it easily. I'm going to draw a curved shape on one side of the face like this and add 2 short stitches at both ends like we did earlier. Now start to embroider along the shape, and by simply changing the position, you will get a mouth with a different style. Feel free to draw a shorter or longer curve as you prefer, or even make a downward curve to change the vibe. This style always reminds me of the characters in the Smurfs. I used to watch it as a kid and dreamed about living in a mushroom house one day. I mean, who knows, one day I will. So far, the closest thing I did is hand sewing a mushroom house with felt. I'll share a picture on the screen. As I mentioned in previous ones, this style can also be used with or without a snout. The next one will be really easy for you if you know the fly stitch in embroidery. Mark 2 parallel points apart from each other. It depends on how wide you want the mouth to be. Now from the back of the fabric, insert the needle at one of those points and pull it all the way. Then go back down at the other marked point and pull the needle from the other side until it forms a loop. Decide how much of a dip you want the mouth to be and come up at that point and over the formed loop. Pull the needle all the way towards you and this will form a shape of letter V or U depending on how tight you pull the thread. Now to secure the form shape, make a short stitch by going back down including the loop. Pull the needle all the way from the back of the fabric. This will give you a simple mouth shape which you can use with or without a snout. Let's move to the last one in this scenario. Instead of drawing a one larger curvy shape, draw two small curvy shapes connected to each other like this. Try to draw them as symmetrical as possible. Now embroider along the shape using the back stitch and make shorter stitch lengths to maintain the shape. You can use this style for faces with or without snout. Now these are the quick and easy 5 different faces I could come up for our first scenario. Hoping you'll try these ones for your next plushie project. Let's move to the next scenario, which is how to embroider a mouth connected to a snout. I have prepared some more felt faces for this scenario and let's go one by one. All of these faces have a snout sewed to it. Another thing I want to mention here is sometimes I don't even embroider any mouth at all when there is a big enough snout. Now let's start with the first one and it's a really simple one. Thread your needle and make a knot at the end. Now coming from the back of the fabric, insert the needle at the midpoint of the lower side of the snout. Pull the needle all the way. Decide what length is going to be appropriate for the face and make a straight stitch by going back down at that point. Pull the needle all the way from the back of the fabric. This will make a single straight stitch perpendicular to the snout and that's it. Simple as that. Let's move to the next one and all the other ones are going to be variations of the first one we did. You can also draw these lines first using a fabric marking pen without just eyeballing the lines. In this one, we first draw a straight line like we did with the first one and then draw another shorter line perpendicular to the first one, an inverted T shape connected to the snout. Now go ahead and make 2 separate straight stitches on top of these drawn lines. If you need your plushie's mouth to stand out, just increase the number of embroidery threads you use. I'm using only 4 threads here. Moving on to the next one, come up at the midpoint of lower side of the snout like we did with the previous ones. Now instead of making a single perpendicular stitch, first make a straight stitch somewhat angled to the one side of the face. I use the shape of the snout as my guide to make the stitch. Now make another stitch with the same angle towards the other side of the face. Both stitches are starting at the same point and try to keep the angle similar at both sides. This is how it looks at the end, and it completely changes the mood of your plushie. Then we are moving on to the next one. Let me draw it first. Draw a straight line perpendicular to the snout, and then at the end of it, draw two separate short lines deviating from that point on both sides. As always, now thread your needle and make 3 straight stitches on top of these drawn lines. You will see an inverted Y shape, and this one is also a small variation from the previous ones. Two more faces to go, and here first I'm going to draw our base line. Straight line perpendicular to the snout. Now draw a small curvy shape at the end of that base line, like an anchor in a ship. Now using your thread and needle, make a single straight stitch first. Then start to sew along the drawn curvy shape using the back stitch. This is another common way of embroidering plushie's mouth, and even for myself, I use this one all the time. I think it's because of the friendly feeling it brings to our plushie. Now let's move to the last one of this scenario, and as always, draw your base line, a straight line perpendicular to the snout. At the end of that line, first draw a curved shape towards one side of the face, and then another curved shape to the other side of the face. Try to draw them as symmetrical as possible. Now it's time to embroider, and first make a straight stitch on top of this straight line. After that, use the back stitch to sew along the two curved shapes. Different styles of mouths bring different characters to your plushie. So depending on the situation and the mood you want to bring, try to mix and match these styles when making plushies. All these styles are very simple to follow, and you can change things here and there to come up with your own style. Now these are the styles I could come up for our second scenario. Mouth with the snout attached. I mean, they look completely different to each other. After these ones, I want to show you two more styles. The difference is we are adding something extra, a different scenario. Now for this one, I have already embroidered mouths for these two bare faces. As I mentioned earlier, we are moving one step forward and gonna add more character to the plushie. For the first one, I'm gonna embroider a tongue. Take your fabric marking pen and draw a curved shape connecting the lower part of the mouth. You can change the shape of the tongue as you like, but I'm going for a simple style. Now fill the space using any of the filling stitches you know. I'm going to use the satin stitch. But before that, I'm going to outline it using the back stitch too. You don't have to do that. After outlining the tongue, fill the space using the satin stitch. Basically, the satin stitch is a collection of straight stitches stitched closer to each other. So just make a few stitches in the same manner to fill up the space. Use the same thread color as the mouth or change it to a different color to showcase the tongue. I think this style looks really cute at the end. Now for the next and the last face, I'm going to add some teeth. Draw a couple of small rectangles collecting the lower part of the mouth like this. I'm going to leave a bit of space between each tooth, just to portray it clearly. As we did with the tongue, now fill the space using the satin stitch or any filling stitch you prefer. This kind of addition is ideal for making a squirrel, a rabbit, an otter, or to give any plushie a little funnier look. When talking about teeth, tusks of the elephants are also a type of teeth. You can add that feature when you are sewing an elephant next time. 2 elongated teeth at the both ends of the mouth. Now with this one, we are at the end of this video, and think for yourself, what are the other things and changes you could add for a plushie's mouth? Let me know in the comments and would love to know your insights as well. Finally, I'm gonna round up all the bear faces, so you can see how small changes in mouth completely change the way they look. There are a total of 13 different styles here, and pick which one is your favorite. Thank you for watching till the end, and I'll join you in the next one.